Hello again, folks, and as you see here, I'm warming up my fingers, and Robert Baker happened to mention about an idea recently on the 15 minutes no excuse guitar challenge. So what I've done is I've kind of taken it upon myself to create this video, kind of taking us through roughly how sometime my own practices go. Again here, this is probably a little bit more extended of what I do for stretching my fingers and out and such, but we really should be trying to do that more because of arthritis and possible injuries. So here's my favorite pick, but for something a bit different, I'm going to try using a different pick this time around. So find probably your best thing to try to do for scales or something, and set your amp or whatever you have, and begin practicing your scale. In the case of this instance, I'm actually practicing a recent scale, a melodic minor scale in G that was published by ESP Ltd Guitar Lover. In regards to finding scales on YouTube and everything else, ESP Ltd Guitar Lover, Scott Grove are fairly controversial individuals, but what it comes down to is at the end of the day, they have lessons, they have scales, and the reality is not all of us necessarily can understand how some people's scales are taught. Some other good resources for learning from online that I've used is let's see here, Bobby Crispy, my fellow Canadian, Marty Schwartz, Papa Stash, or Stash, however you say that. I'm trying to think of some others here offhand. Guitar World posts up lessons. There's too many to think of, to be honest with you, where you can actually go to their YouTube channel, find a... Oh, sorry, I just thought of another one. James, who actually had to change his channel because of copyright issues. But he's another great person who takes his time and actually shows you his way through the songs. Some fairly famous classic songs he does. So anyways, getting back to what I was saying, the knowledge is out there, no matter how controversial the source is or not, and it's just a matter of you looking in the search function of YouTube. Don't be afraid to also check out tab crawler, tab sites, and all that type of other things for stuff as well too, because it's out there. And as we see here, as I'm going through, I'm working through the scale in both forwards and backwards, trying to varying up the techniques. As you see there, for a second I screwed up, so again I start back from where I left off. But don't be worried about having to play it perfect or whatnot. Just practice. how many other people out there that give away the free lessons or do lessons. Sorry, I can't forget Robert Baker as well. Robert Baker also does lessons, and he's really good at them as well too. And as all of them say, don't put pressure on yourself to be perfect. Take your time learning the stuff. You don't have to speed through the stuff. Just make sure you got it accurate. Keep going over it. Not excessively going over it, but going over it to the point where you think that you've learned it enough in your head, and then probably stop doing it. There will be some time when I'm not talking throughout this, just to give myself a break and let the music play out a bit. As you see here, after going through it a little bit, I really picked it up good. Now, take a break, stretch out your fingers again, start playing something a little bit more familiar. Here I'm doing that kind of blues rhythm thing. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to just play things that you recognize or can actually play decently. It can stem off into other things as well too. I've found that myself recently in what I've been picking up in chords and lessons through other people on YouTube. How I've been able to turn some things into what I might normally not have, whether it's just became knowledge or the simple fact that, understanding more how notes and that go on the fretboard. So again, don't be afraid to change things up a bit. Here I change it to a different sound. And again, experiment with stuff on the fretboard. Experiment with what you have for amp settings. Sliding notes, on and off, hammering, vibrato, along those things. Something might sound shitty, but the only way you're going to improve and become better as a guitar player, no matter what your intention is to actually just practice and experiment. If it sounds like crap, it sounds like crap. Also at the same time, don't be afraid to try new techniques. As you see here, this is something I don't do very much, is this tapping. And especially on this guitar, for some reason, it does not pick up notes exactly that well for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the frets or whatever, but as you notice a little bit when I try to go up to the more bassier strings, it changes a lot in the loudness of it and so forth. But again, I'd like to further emphasize, as I'm saying throughout this video, challenge yourself to actually look at doing other playing techniques. You might stumble onto something you might like, or maybe stumble onto something that you could actually maybe incorporate into something that you want to do in playing. Or even writing a song. The only way you can learn stuff is, again, I can't stress it enough, is to just practice and experiment. Don't be afraid to try new things. otherwise you get stuck in a same old rut. The Tone King himself has even said that's why he started taking lessons from actually Robert Baker, was because every time he was doing stuff, it was all the same stuff all the time, and well, it definitely gets old as a viewer, and probably even old and a little boring as you, the player yourself. So, you know, again, change things up, try things different. It's, you know, it's not like you're signed to a major record label where you're expected to put out like some like album, or you're getting paid $1 million to do stuff. This is the time to experiment and learn new techniques and whatnot. So again, taking another little break, change things up. Here again, trying something a little bit different and practicing basically a little bit of Crazy Train and, you know, trying to perfect it or just trying to remember how to play it. Again, these are your times to practice your stuff and see if something isn't right, or if you've misplayed something in a certain spot and then correct it yourself, or again reference something on YouTube or on an online site. Again, I'd like to stress as well at the same time, always remember, not everything is played the exact same way. One chord played in one position can be played in a higher or lower position but still have the same note. Again, take time to take a break. Don't necessarily be rushing and keep playing straight. Otherwise, your practicing will tire out too quickly, and it actually might ruin when you are trying to play accurately. Again, going back to another similar style to try to change things up. Here you can see I'm kind of doing that kind of 3-string together funk kind of thing, and I do kind of like that style of guitar playing, but I don't play it enough much probably. I really do need to work on that, which is a prime example why I actually did it here in the video. Again, as you probably see me reach down, I lower the volume to change the way the output of the patch is going, and I have a now more cleaner sound that has a little bit of dirt to it, and the funk type strumming and fretting seems to be becoming more pronounced now. Again, here we see more hammer-on, pull-off kind of practice as well. Like I said, just try to vary up your practice. You know, sometimes not being routine is a good thing. So this concludes my little 15 minutes of practice and how sometimes I do practice when I have the time to. Hope you enjoyed it, folks, and it was fun to do it for yous. Bye for now.